Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today is the day where I am going to share with you everything that I loved and hated about our recent trip to Iberostar Selection Bávaro in Punta Cana. And I have a lot of clients going to this resort over the summer, and I just really thought it would be helpful for anyone at all who might be going to this resort to listen to this video and to learn a little bit from my experience. In addition to that, I am going to share the thing that I really disliked the most at the very end. And after that, I'm going to share with you what my next adventure is going to be. You want to stay tuned for that. It's super fun. All of my work trips this year ended up being over the spring. So March, April, May, not June, March, April, and May have just been totally crazy. So much travel, all good things. I love my job. I love doing it. And I have something really exciting coming up soon. All right, so that being said, let's get this started because there's quite a bit to share. All right, to start, one thing that I loved was the atmosphere of the resort. As soon as you drive in, you realize it is very nestled and secluded, and you kind of feel like you're in your own private tropical paradise. And I really, really appreciate that. Some other all-inclusive resorts have high-rise hotels or have other hotels that you can see, and you can see roads and highways. There was none of that. You were literally in this beautiful, secluded tropical paradise. And it was very lush. There were exotic birds, there was a koi pond, there were turtles. It was just so scenic, beautiful, and relaxing. And some of the fun things that they had throughout the property, one of my favorites was a little ice cream shop that they have right next to the pool with different varieties of ice cream. And then they have the Star Cafe, which is the specialty coffee shop, which is open 24 hours a day. That's amazing. So I did have my share of caffeine on this trip. I was definitely over caffeinated most of the time. They had a really good mocha iced latte that I enjoyed. They had cappuccinos, espressos, all different types of specialty coffees and teas. So you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And in addition to that, they had pastries, sandwiches, little personal pizzas. And this again is 24 hours a day. So definitely a highlight of the trip. One of my favorite places to eat was this little beach cabana right on the water, beautiful ocean views, very relaxed vibe. They only had basically one option for food. They had these, I think they were just called like Dominican sandwiches, and there were two different types of meat you could choose for it. But essentially it was just kind of like ham with sauteed peppers and onions with a special sauce and kind of like a fresh, almost like a panini. It was delicious, and the fries were delicious, and you can just grab yourself a sandwich and a drink. It's actually called I think it's pronounced Saboni Bar, and it's a bar with a little sandwich area. They also had a really fun swim up bar, and the main pool that had like a really big pool on one side with on the other side was like the swim up pool. There's a big cabana over the bar area, so you can have shade the entire time. If it's raining, it doesn't matter. You could still be sitting in the pool having a cocktail. If it's ridiculously hot, it doesn't matter. A whole big area of that pool is shaded, which is amazing. And it's definitely one of the perks of this hotel because I don't often see a swim up bar that has that much shade. So really nice. I just wish it was adult only because we had a lot of splashy kids in the area. And if there's one thing I cannot stand, it's kids splashing chlorinated water into my drinks. So that would be nice, but it was a really great bar. Definitely recommend hanging out there. The Star Camp, which is the kids club, had a lot of fun activities going on for the younger children. They had karaoke, dancing, treasure hunts, art classes, all kinds of fun stuff going on. The kids also have a really fun splash pad area. They have beach volleyball going on. They had ping pong. So there was really a lot to do for younger kids. And there were a lot of young families on my trip. But I think that's because it was spring break, because I've often also had like a lot of couples go to this particular resort. And just to let you know, there are different levels at Iberostar resorts. And if you want to start at the top, that is the adult only area, which is now called Joya. It used to be called the Grand. And you will have butler service, ocean view rooms. Like, you really, really are treated well when you go that level. And I have never had a client stay at Joya and be disappointed, because it really is spectacular. You have private dining, private pool, a nice beach area, all of the things. And then a level down from that is Coral. Now, what is unique about the Iberostar Resort in Punta Cana is the Coral level is open to families, where at many of the other resorts, it's also adult only. So, my families that stayed at Coral really had the time of their lives. They also have their own specialty restaurant. They also have their own private pools, and, you know, a really nice beach location. You can get drinks on the beach in Coral and Joya. So they actually have service where they bring drinks to you. So it's really, really a great experience. On this trip, I had access to Coral, but I was booked at Iberostar Selection Bávaro. That's just something unique to me. Anyone else would have to actually be booked in Coral to use any of their amenities. So I was able to experience a bit of both, so I can come back and share that with clients. All right, so what else do I have here? The spa was really great. They have a nice big private pool area, and then they have, you know, the sauna, and they have a hot tub, and they have the cold plunge pool and all of those things. And if you're staying at Coral level, you also have access to that area without booking a massage for a certain period of time, which is a nice perk as well. I really liked the layout of the buildings. All of the buildings were only 2 levels in this area for Bavaro Selection, and it just felt very quiet, quaint, cozy. It just didn't feel like busy and loud and noisy as like a high-rise hotel would be. So I really did like that, and it was all surrounded by nature and trees and tropical flowers, and it was just really, really nice. And I did also like the layout of the rooms. They were very spacious. When you walk in, you have your main bedroom with a king-size bed. Some have 2 queens, and then there's a couple of steps down, and you have this nice sitting area, and then beyond that is the balcony. So it was really nice, very spacious. I have no complaints about the room. There was one of my clients had a little bit of an issue with the air conditioning, but they reported it, and they immediately gave them a room upgrade actually for the inconvenience. So that worked out really well for them. If you do have any issues on property, always go to guest services. I would say skip the front desk and go straight to guest services. That is where you will really probably get more quickly attended to. All right, something else that I enjoyed was they had coconuts at the pool, and I believe over at Coral they had them on the beach one day, just fresh coconuts. They chop off the top and they give it to you with a straw. You can opt to have some rum put in it as well, so that was a lot of fun. They are very environment friendly, so this could be something that you don't like or you do like. A lot of people had mixed emotions about it, but there is no plastic bottles on property. You get these big glass jugs that you refill at water stations, so you always have access to fresh water, but you're not going to be getting bottles of plastic water in your room. I actually really liked that. The water station was right outside my room. I had no problem filling it up a couple of times during my trip. You get 2 really big ones in your room, and if you're at a higher level, they do fill it for you. But I previously shared this when I went to Iberostar in Jamaica. I did have oceanfront butler service. It was amazing, but they filled up my water bottle, and I dumped it and filled it myself because I just have paranoia. That's just me, so I still prefer to fill it myself. But yeah, so it actually worked out really great, and I do like that they are eliminating plastic. I think it's a good thing to do. Okay, and the lobby was so cool because in the daytime it's complete tranquility. It's so beautiful, it's so quiet, it's open air, you can hear the piano playing and classical music, and it's such a chill vibe. But it completely wakes up at night because that's also where you'll find your main theater, and every night there was entertainment. There were shows with dancing and different themes, and it was just a really good time. The bar is there too, and that seems to be like the main bar where everyone congregates. And then right beyond that is the coffee shop. So that actually worked out well because I don't drink a lot, but I will go get myself a cup of coffee after dinner. So when my husband was at the bar getting a drink, I would walk over to the Star Cafe and get like a cappuccino and bring it to the bar and just hang out and watch the show. So that worked out really, really great. And it was a great location for meeting up with friends. we just all knew we were going to be there every night. That's just kind of where we found everyone. They have an opportunity to do a photo package. I usually don't do this, but because we were there celebrating my mom's 75th birthday, I thought it would be a fun thing to consider doing. So I spoke with my siblings about it and we all thought it was a good idea. So we set up the photo package. For my package, I got 10 photos for $150, but then they ended up adding some things and the price went up a little bit, but we ended up getting some prints and some additional pictures and we just negotiated a price. The pictures came out stunning. If you're not following me on social media, you can follow me on Facebook at Jennifer Jones Brennan or Journeys with Jen or Mickey World Travel Jen Brennan. I am all over Facebook and I did share some of the pictures from our trip and they came out great. And I think for $150, it is so worth it. Highly recommend doing the photo package especially if you're traveling with a group. All right, I'm going to end just briefly talking about the places that I dined and what my experience was like. So in Selection, I did dine at the main buffet, which is called Los Hatsis. I can't even pronounce it. It was good. They had pizza, which my daughter very much enjoyed. They had a variety of desserts. They just had a lot of different things. They had sushi. They had Mexican one day where they had fresh guacamole and tacos, and there was definitely enough to choose from. And we ate there most days for both breakfast and lunch, and we ended up having dinner there one night as well. The pasta there is really good too. They kind of make it fresh with different sauces. And then we also ate at El Tapatio, which is the buffet over by the pool where the Mexican restaurant is. And that buffet was a little bit more scaled back. It was still decent, but I did prefer the main buffet, which you can find in the lobby area. And then we ate at Il Forno, which is the Italian restaurant. We had a bad experience there, so I'll talk about that when I talk about the things that I hated about the trip. And the El Tapatio was also the Mexican restaurant in the evening. So in the daytime, there's a buffet in that area. In the evening, it's a Mexican restaurant, and the Mexican food was very good. I really enjoyed my dinner there the first night that we arrived. And then there was the Japanese restaurant, which is called Kabuki, and we all had a great meal there. That was my mom's 75th birthday, so they brought out a cake, and there was like a sparkler, like a candle, but it was actually like one of those sparklers, and it was a lot of fun. All right, so geez, I talked over 10 minutes about all the things that I loved. So let's see how involved I get with the things I hated. All right. Oh, the kids club is great for younger kids. My daughter, who is 14, would be in the category called Eagles, which is ages 13 to 15 or even up to 17, which is like preteens, teenagers. And they literally had nothing. I did see the building where they would have stuff, but nobody was there ever. They didn't really have, if you look at the activity calendar, it was very minimal for teenagers. And my daughter actually was looking at all of the kid activities for the younger kids. And she's like, I would totally do that. Like I would do the art classes and I would do the scavenger hunt or treasure hunt or whatever they had going on or the dance parties. She so would have been involved in all of those things and was looking forward to making new friends, but they didn't really have much at all. So she ended up spending most of her time in the hammocks, playing ping pong and playing volleyball and just hoping that other kids showed up so she'd be able to meet some other kids. Something else that got kind of annoying, especially to some of the other guests, my clients that were on the trip, were the vendors. Some nights the vendors do set up just local people who sell their products. It's also stuff that's just basically sold in the gift shop anyway, a lot of it, but then they also have like paintings and woodwork and bracelets and things like that. They can be a little aggressive. I definitely have seen way worse at other resorts. I really wasn't hassled too much. I just said no thank you and kept walking and it was never an issue, but I did have a client who said that they were, trying to give some merchandise to their children and then asking them to pay for it. So that's a little sneaky and we did not like that. I already mentioned one of my clients had an issue with the air conditioning in their room. So I put that on the hate side, but they quickly rectified it. So that was really fine. I feel like the language barrier is a real thing and it can be problematic. Most of the workers do not speak any English at all and they do not understand what you're saying. So I had to translate on my chat GPT a lot of the time. to be able to communicate with them. Even on basic things, like they have the golf carts that take you from place to place if you don't want to walk the entire property, which we utilized a lot being with my mom. She can't really walk like that. And even to like try to ask them, you know, can you bring me to the spa? They have no idea what you're saying. Like I had to type it up and show it to them. So that really got a little bit frustrating. And I don't know if that was the reason, but much of the staff just didn't seem very warm and friendly either. And that really sets the tone for your vacation. I don't know, is it selfish? But I want the workers to like be happy and nice and kind of good vacation vibes. And when people seem miserable, I just kind of feel it. And it just definitely puts a damper on the way that you are feeling during that experience, whether you're at a spa or you're at a dining location or you're at a bar. You just want the workers to be nice and friendly. I don't know. That's maybe nitpicking a little bit, but that's just the way I feel. Okay, there was no bar service at the pool or at the beach at the area where I was staying, which was the Selection. So you could easily get to a bar. It's not like I had to have somebody bringing me drinks, but a lot of resorts do have people walking around and serving drinks. I don't know if they occasionally wander over there, but in my experience, in my time there, I was not served any drinks in that area, although when I was over at Coral, I was. So it would be nice if they had beach bar service and pool service throughout the resort for all levels of guests. I just think that would be nice. But I guess you are paying extra to have those extra perks. The entertainment was mediocre. So if you're going there expecting Broadway style shows, it's not going to be like that. It's fun, it's entertaining. They usually have such a long pre-show, so I feel like the entertainment starts at like 8 o'clock at night and ends at like 10:30 or so. So the main show you'll usually see on your app starting at like 9 or 9:30, but it'll really start like an hour before that. And they usually have the kids more involved at that time. They were like dancing with the children, and they usually had the performers out mingling with the crowd, doing photo ops. Especially the circus night was a lot of fun, because on the circus night, there were like areas where they're making popcorn, and they had these guys on these really tall stilts taking pictures with people, and they have people in costume walking around. So definitely try to get there a little early, because the pre-show stuff is actually a lot of fun. They sing and they dance and they have great costumes, but the quality of it is mediocre at best. Still very entertaining, and we still win every single night. Pretty much. I missed one night because of a situation that we had that I'll tell you at the end. There was no foam party when we were there, and that was really disappointing. I love a good foam party, and on my previous trip there, they did have a foam party going on. I wasn't there for it on that day, but I did see in the past they had it. So I don't know why they didn't have it this time, but that was disappointing, because I always talk to my clients and my family about the foam party, and I was so excited for my daughter to take part in it, and there was no foam party on my trip. Okay, the disco opens way too late. They do have a disco, but it doesn't open till 11 o'clock at night. So I never made it. I am not a late night person anymore. My brother and my sister-in-law and my niece all went. A couple of my clients went. They all had a good time. They do have like dance music and drinks, and it's a party scene. I think it's open till like 2 in the morning. But I just never made it, and I wish it was open earlier. Like even if they did 9:30, 10, I might be able to make it for a little while, but 11 is just way too late for me. And so the sargassum seaweed situation is always hit or miss. At every resort that you stay at, it's just nature. There is nothing that can be done about the fact that there is seaweed in the water, and some days it washes up and it's messy, and some days it's perfectly clear and beautiful. And I experienced both on my trip. The first couple of days it was clear aqua blue, beautiful water, and then towards the end of the week we had a couple of murky days. They do have trucks that come through early in the morning and clean it up, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. There's really no way to even know for sure, because the weather has just been so unpredictable anyway. You can't even say like this time of year is going to 100% be great and this time of year is going to 100% be awful. You just don't know anymore. I didn't care either way. and I still swam and it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just want you to be aware that it's possible that there will be seaweed in the water. Okay, and then, oh, so this was really crazy. My daughter did have some friends on this trip because I had a big group trip going out, so I had a lot of clients and local families, and some of the kids were little, like, I don't know, 10 years old, and they went up to the bar and ordered strawberry daiquiris, and they gave them strawberry daiquiris that had alcohol in it. And my daughter took a sip and she's like, no, no alcohol. And when she was saying that, because the language barrier, they started pouring them more alcohol. I don't remember what bar she was at, but I could not believe it. And then finally she's like, no, 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 we don't want alcohol. And they made them a new one. Crazy, right? And then another time they ordered pina coladas and they gave them pina coladas with alcohol. Thank goodness my daughter, who is 14, is not looking to get drunk. Some teenagers would really have a good time with that, but she didn't drink it, didn't want it, and, you know, they made her a new one. But I just thought that was crazy. And the spa was interesting because although it was nice and I had a massage and all of those things, there were no safety precautions. So there was no like questionnaire, no medical information that you shared with them. You just had your appointment time and they brought you in the room and they massaged you. I'm just more used to them asking you a lot of questions, seeing if you've had surgery, seeing if you're pregnant, asking if you have allergies. And this is going to lead into my biggest gripe with the resort. They completely massaged me with like an almond oil. And my daughter, who I was traveling with, is highly allergic to peanuts, tree nuts, just all nuts across the board. And that is what I want to talk about next. So in my experience, Iberostar resorts are very good about allergies, or so this is what I have been told. And this is what I have trained extensively about when I did my training with Iberostar. And I've done a lot of training with them and I've been to other resorts and I feel like I really know the brand. So it was interesting that my experience with my daughter and her allergy was so poorly handled. So when you check into the resort, the first thing that you're going to do is go over to guest services and explain to them the allergy situation. So they will translate that in a letter for the wait staff in Spanish. So every time you go to a restaurant, you show it to your waiter, they show it to the chef, the other workers, and everybody is supposed to be on the same page, knowing that this person has a severe allergy. My letter said that my daughter has a fatal nut allergy to all nuts, basically, across the board. So no cross-contamination, cannot be served nuts at all, and it literally says this is fatal. Every night, except for one, our first night we were okay. Every single night following, at dinner, the waiter read the letter, acknowledged it, and served my daughter a plate that clearly had nut products on it. And thank goodness that we are so cautious about that, because me and my husband noticed it and we told our daughter not to touch it and we wanted to make sure. And the one night there was pesto sauce on her meal and the waiter recommended it. And I had said to him, that's pesto sauce. Pesto is made out of pine nuts. She can't have that. And he's like, no, 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 it's okay. It's okay. She can have it. I highly recommend this for your daughter with allergies. And I was like, please, no, we don't want it. No. Long story short, he brought it to us anyway, even though I argued with him about it. And at that point I said, please get the chef. The chef came over. I showed him the letter. He looked at her plate, took it away in a panic and said, no, 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 she can't have that. Had me incredibly angry and disappointed. The following day I went to guest services to let them know the situation. They wrote up another letter making it more urgent, and they also produced this letter and sent it to every dining location that I had planned on going to. So at that point I had to decide where I was going to eat the rest of the week, which was also annoying and gave me no flexibility. They were all notified. We went to the Italian restaurant the next day. This was after a lot of time at guest services, talking to the hotel manager, a lot of going back and forth, like kind of ruined my entire day. I couldn't get to the beach or relax because I had to work this all out with guest services. That night we went to the Italian restaurant, showed them the letter. They brought her out a plate that had little dots of pesto sauce all around it. And it was the same thing. I said, can you please confirm that this is safe? Is this pesto? and a waitress came over, or like the head of the wait staff, and she came over and read the letter, and she frantically took it away, and she's like, no, don't touch it. In the meantime, I think my daughter had come in contact with it. She didn't ingest it, but she may have touched the plate. Whatever happened, she started breaking out in hives around her mouth, in her mouth. It was very scary. We went back to guest services. At this point, I was crying. Like, I was so upset. I said, I'm scared for my daughter's life. The poor kid is starving. She's been living on fruit and pizza all week, and I cannot get you guys to understand how fatal this allergy is. Like, please work with me here. So that hotel manager had to have somebody, either herself or somebody else on the staff, bring us to each restaurant the following day. So like, I had to call them and say, I'm going to breakfast now. Somebody has to meet me there and tell my daughter what she can eat. My daughter's headed to the buffet. Can somebody please come hold her hand and show her what she can eat? It was ridiculous, not relaxing at all. Very stressful for my daughter, who cried. She didn't want somebody escorting her. Like, come on, people. Anyway, that night the manager met us at dinner. We had dinner at the, so the first bad experience was at El Faro, and that was over in Coral section. And then we did the Greek restaurant the last night. The hotel manager came with us, spoke with the staff. Basically, they really couldn't give us any information, or neglected to give us any information on desserts. So my daughter just like didn't eat dessert that night, which was fine. I prefer she doesn't eat dessert because that's like always an issue. And that was how our trip ended. So it was frustrating. If you don't have allergies, you don't even have to worry about that whole part of it. But if you do, you really need to take such precautions. I would even go as far as to say, pack some pre-packaged food for yourself to bring for the trip, which we are actually, believe it or not, going back, and we're staying Coral Level. And I'm going to reach out to the hotel manager, who I've gotten pretty friendly with through this, to let her know when we're coming and have her, hopefully help us navigate this better. They did say they had a big meeting about it, and they are going to be doing better training and all of those things. So I am kind of anxious to go back and test the waters and make sure that everything is okay. But also at the same time, I know the certain things my daughter can and can't have. I know how to navigate this now. And honestly, I think I would probably stick with the buffet more than the sit-down dining experiences, because that is where things became problematic. At the buffet, we pretty much knew she could eat fruit, she can have pizza, the pasta, like we knew of certain things she could have, but it was the specialty restaurants that were always a really big problem. And they seemed baffled and confused by the letter, so I don't know if it is really effective at all. Obviously, it's clearly not effective at all, so there's that. Okay, so that was the worst of it. I hope that this was all helpful for you if you are going. I would love to help you plan if you're going anywhere in the world. I give honest opinions, I do my research, and I really try the best that I can to help my clients out. So my information is always below. And next on the agenda, I am actually going to be headed to Epic Universe, Universal's brand new park, and I was invited to a preview day. And I can't wait. So I am going to be leaving soon. By the time you guys see this video, I will likely be on my way there. I cannot wait to check out Epic Universe. I am a big Harry Potter fan, and that Ministry of Magic looks amazing. And the Isle of Berk from How to Train Your Dragon also looks amazing. And Dark Universe, Celestial Park, Super Nintendo World. Like, there's so many fun things going on. I'm so excited. I cannot wait for this. Of course, I'm going to bring you guys along, so stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I believe it was very long, so if you made it to the end, please do some kind of emoji below. Give me a thumbs up or a heart or something. Let me know that you made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all real soon. Take care. Bye.